What would your advice be if someone is finding themselves in the position where they're being made redundant, either in recruitment, construction, or any sort of market? What would be your key advice? Because I think it's fatal to sort of sit back and think, oh, uh, what should I do? I think you need to take action
Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
away. Otherwise, you can find that because it does take a while, to find something else, especially if you have to maybe go slightly differently in terms of the market you're in or the industry you're in, if your industry is very sort of depressed at the moment. So what would be your advice to someone who's sort of in that situation that they're either facing redundancy or they have been made redundant?
It's really difficult, and I think it depends on what they're being made redundant from. I think I really feel for people who, like, I know people who were in PR and events, and things like that, were really like corporate marketing and things like that. Like they really embodied those people, and that was what they loved doing and what they did. And that's come to a real halt with no
Yeah.
real indication to how we can get those people back to bringing value to businesses, to corporations, to society, with those skill sets that they enjoyed applying so much. So, my advice to them, I actually, I wouldn't have any. I can't think about how difficult it'd be if tomorrow morning I had to jump in an Amazon delivery van and completely change what I love doing because no one wanted to buy what I had in the current climate. That's a real difficult one. But hopefully, I know some people, and personally know some people who this has given a real opportunity to assess where they're doing what they love doing, and is this a good chance to go and find what they love doing. So, I know people who have started while they're sat at home. They've started Etsy shops, making things
Oh, yeah.
on little products for Christmas on Etsy and things like that. And they're actually much happier now. So it's a really difficult one, and I think it depends on what you've been made redundant from. But if you believe that your industry still exists and you believe that there's still a purpose for you, and because people are still spending money in your space and your company just hasn't, or one really good example I've got is land and utility surveyors. So you tend to have a few different types of companies, and some of them will predominantly focus on coming to survey your garden if you want a new fence putting up or you want an extension done. And some of them will work on the large, HS2 and like the airports and the Highways England contracts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, the Highways England guys and all the sort of key infrastructure works, they more or less carried on. But all of the companies that were doing houses, it was, don't come near my house. So all of those guys shut down. So what we had was some land and utility surveying companies who also had people isolating and didn't have the staff, and then loads of staff that were either being made redundant or sat at home and just didn't know what was going on. So then it was a case of, okay, we need to get these people in touch with these people really quickly. So going back to my point, if like utilities, like infrastructure, if there's still a purpose for you and there's still money and you've just been let down by either your subsector or your company, then get online very quickly, find out what companies are using your skill set right now and being paid for it, and go and ask to be paid for it. That's my advice to those people.
No, that's really good. I think, and take action. I think it can become sort of the rot sets in if you sit back, which is sort of understandable. I think it's a horrible experience to go through, but I think you certainly feel better if you feel that you're taking action anyway, and that just sort of builds.